They mocked her like she was nothing, but by the end of the will reading, she owned everything they ever wanted. The rain hit the sidewalks of Savannah, Georgia like it had a personal grudge. Thick drops pelted the ground, bouncing off the slick blacktop and gathering in little rivers along the cracked curbs. Monica Ellington tightened her grip on her purse and stepped carefully out of the cab, her simple navy dress clinging to her legs in the heavy, wet air. In front of her stood the Whitmore estate, a sprawling brick giant of a house that looked like it belonged in a history textbook. Stone lions guarded the stairway, their faces forever frozen in a snarl that didn't exactly scream, "Welcome." She adjusted her low heels and started up the steps, heart pounding harder with every click against the old stone. It wasn't fear. Not really. It was the feeling you get when you know you're walking into a room full of people who think they already know everything about you. Through the wide double doors, the inside smelled like lemon polish and old money. Every surface gleamed, from the checkered marble floor to the gold-framed paintings that stared back at her with cold eyes. A dozen or so people already milled around the foyer, cousins, nieces, nephews, people Monica had only heard Harold Whitmore complain about. The moment she stepped in, conversation dipped. Heads turned, stares hit her like slaps to the face. Whispers floated under the tall ceiling. What's she doing here? She worked for him, didn't she? The assistant or whatever? He always had a soft spot for charity cases. Monica inhaled slowly, letting their words pass through her like smoke. She smoothed her damp dress and walked across the foyer, heels muffled by the thick Persian rug. No one made room for her, not that she expected them to. She found a chair along the wall by a dusty grandfather clock that ticked louder than anyone was speaking. Sitting there, Monica folded her hands in her lap and kept her eyes on the floor, feeling the judgment settle over her like a second skin. She had worked for Harold Whitmore for 12 long years, managed his schedules, handled his medications, even sat with him when his own family couldn't be bothered. They had shared birthdays, holidays, long evenings with Harold talking about his regrets and the life he wished he had lived. But none of these people cared about that. To them, she was the help, an outsider who didn't belong. A pair of pointed shoes stopped in front of her. Monica looked up to see a woman in a sharp gray suit, a diamond tennis bracelet flashing as she tucked a sleek strand of hair behind her ear. "You might be more comfortable in the kitchen," the woman said sweetly, loud enough for everyone to hear. A few snickers rippled around the room. Monica smiled politely, refusing to give them the satisfaction of seeing her flinch. "I'm fine right here, thanks." The woman's mouth twisted in a tight little smirk before she turned away, her heels snapping against the marble like gunshots. The old grandfather clock ticked on, each swing of the pendulum heavier than the last. Finally, a door creaked open at the end of the hallway, and a short, balding man in a rumpled suit appeared. Mr. Danvers, Harold's longtime attorney. He shuffled forward, a thick envelope clutched tightly in one hand. "Everyone please into the study," he called, voice cracking with age. "We'll begin shortly." Chairs scraped, people muttered. Monica rose carefully, following the crowd into a wood-paneled room lined with sagging bookshelves and oil portraits of dead Whitmores glaring down from above. She found another seat at the very back, near the dusty window where the storm outside rattled against the glass. Danvers cleared his throat and placed the envelope on the massive oak desk. His hands trembled slightly as he opened it, pulling out a sheaf of papers thick enough to choke on. "I want to thank you all for being here today," he began. "As you know, Mr. Whitmore left very specific instructions regarding the distribution of his estate." The air grew tight, as if everyone had sucked in a breath and forgotten to let it go. Danvers flipped to the first page, clearing his throat again, and just like that, the real show was about to start. But the moment Danvers started reading, it was clear this wasn't going to go the way anyone thought. Danvers's voice crackled as he read the formal greetings from Harold's will. It was the usual legal stuff, thanking everyone for coming, acknowledging their connection to him. But Monica noticed something. Harold didn't call them family. He called them associates and relatives by blood. It wasn't warm. It wasn't loving. It was cold and precise, the way a businessman writes off a bad investment. The snickering had died down, replaced by a thick, uncomfortable quiet. Monica sat motionless, hands still clasped, eyes straight ahead. She could feel the stares, though, heavy, hot, searching for some sign of weakness. Across the room, a man she recognized, Trevor Langston, one of Harold's nephews, leaned toward the woman in the sharp gray suit who had insulted Monica earlier. "I mean, come on," he muttered loudly enough for Monica to hear. She probably thought she was getting a bonus or something. Look at her sitting back there like a stray dog. The woman snorted, covering her mouth daintily like she was trying to hide a laugh. A few others chuckled too, their shoulders shaking. Danvers looked up sharply over his glasses but said nothing. This wasn't his fight. Monica's cheeks burned, but she didn't move. She thought of Harold sitting in his wheelchair in the sunroom, telling her, "When people show you who they are, don't try to paint them different. Believe them the first time." So she believed them. Trevor wasn't done. He turned toward Monica fully now, resting one arm along the back of his chair like he was settling in for a show. "You know he only kept you around because he pitied you, right?" Trevor said, voice dripping with mock kindness. "Old men get sentimental when they're dying. It's nothing personal." Monica tilted her head slightly, fixing him with a look so blank and calm it made him falter for half a second. She didn't say a word. The woman in the gray suit, her name was Clarissa Vaughn, Harold's great niece, leaned forward, fake sweet smile plastered across her face. "Monica, was it?" she cooed. "It's so good you're here. After all, someone will need to polish the silver after the real business is done." The room chuckled again, louder this time. "Open now. Ugly." Monica could feel her chest tightening, but she kept her breathing steady. These people, with their designer suits and private school accents, thought the world owed them something just for existing. They didn't even know Harold anymore, not really. He had told her so himself. Danvers cleared his throat again, this time with more force, trying to pull the room back to order. "If we could continue," he said, giving Clarissa and Trevor a pointed look. They didn't apologize. They didn't even pretend to. Monica thought about leaving. She could stand up right now, walk out into the rain,